Alex Jones has been removed from PayPal, scrubbing him almost entirely from the internet. This is the new digital gulag. We live in the USS Internet, where instead of removing people from paintings and records, people are removed from social media and then the rest of the internet. For the moment, Infowars.com is still up, but it's only a matter of time before they get to that too. Alex Jones might seem unhinged to some, but this clearly organized movement to remove him from the internet makes it more plausible to the average person that Alex Jones was right. PayPal said on Friday that it has cut ties with Infowars after a review found instances of it promoting, quote, hate and discriminatory intolerance against certain communities and religions. Infowars said the move is aimed at sabotaging the site just weeks before the midterm elections. There are a strange amount of people cheering this on, apparently unaware that such clearly defined rules like hate and discriminatory intolerance against certain communities and religions could be used as a reason to silence them later on. That's the reason why tech companies have such vague rules and terms. This gives them the reason to selectively enforce the rules to their liking, while pseudo-intellectuals push out the private business argument time and time again in their defense each time. Funny how they would not support a local business refusing service due to creed or ethnicity, but when it's a multi-billion-dollar company, they fall over themselves in their haste to defend them. After all, they aren't defending an ideal or a belief, just spite for a guy who wants to sell you some water filters. Why are all of those people that cared so much for the free press suddenly so silent? Alex Jones is a media personality, a news reporter himself, even if he is part entertainer. It seems that they don't care so much for free speech after all. Big surprise, right? Since they are so quick to relish in the silencing of somebody they don't like. If this is how they treat somebody like Alex Jones, a person whose wrong was asking too many questions, how do you think they're going to treat wrong thinkers just a few months from now? Your average wrong thinker, by the way, not some high-profile person like Alex Jones. You can not like Alex Jones or CNN or Fox and still respect their right to practice whatever it is they call what they do. When they start becoming more and more ban-happy on the internet, you can remember when Alex Jones was banned and the press remained silent on the issue, instead fixated on a book written by a middle-tier call girl.
Trump came swooping in wearing black silk pajamas and slippers, she writes. What are you doing? I yelled. Go put some effing clothes on. When Daniels came out of the bathroom, she claims Trump was lying on the bed in his underwear. They had sex. She then describes his genitalia in great detail. His penis is distinctive in a certain way, she writes. Proof, her attorney Michael Avenatti says. She is tired of being called a liar by Trump's people.
So stunning. So brave. Now this is the type of content, the type of journalism you can expect from CNN. While all of this is going on, there is content much worse out there that remains untouched. You have journalists and media personalities spouting off things that would cause a ban if just one word was changed. The rules are arbitrary and selectively enforced, and people are now more open to the idea than ever of completely removing people from the internet and removing their ability to make money and pay their bills, to put food on their table, to provide for their children and their family. I know what you might be thinking. Go build your own payment processing company. Surely there must be an alternative to PayPal like Stripe, for example. But even Stripe has been leaned on by MasterCard, for example, to not support businesses like BitChute. This is why these alternative tech companies that people say they should just build themselves up if they like free speech so much. This is why those companies never thrive. Why, mysteriously, they always seem to crumble right when they start to get momentum. The alternatives that are out there are prevented from thriving by a cabal of tech companies that work to prevent competitors from entering into the market. This is the sort of thing that the media used to talk about. But now, journalists work to cover up the truth, not to report it. Mainstream news shriek when they are called fake news, but it's because it clearly strikes a nerve. They know deep down, in their heart of hearts, that this criticism is genuine, but they brush it aside and ignore the constructive advice. To call them fake news is to put it very lightly. The media works as the propaganda machine of the elite, out there to manipulate the public and spin all the bad news that comes out about them. They do not seek to inform the public, they seek to mislead the public, and all on the behalf of self-important journalists and tech oligarchs. In other slightly related news, James Wood, famous actor, infamous right-wing personality, was locked out of Twitter. Surely he was engaging in unbecoming behavior, something that even Twitter, with its apparent endorsement of tweets like this one, had to act on. They were just acting on behalf of constructing healthy dialogue, right? Well, here's the tweet that got his account locked. Pretty scary that there is a distinct possibility that this could be real. Not likely, but in this day and age of absolute liberal insanity, it is at least possible. And he tweeted out what I believe this is a satirical Democrats ad that came from the 8chan boards. I believe that's where I saw it. We're making a woman's vote worth more by staying home. Democrats, change that matters. Hashtag, let women decide. Hashtag, no men midterm. Right there, you can see how selectively the rules are actually enforced. This was never about fostering healthy dialogue. That's not why people go on social media anyway. This was about controlling what people are willing to talk about. The average person wants to follow the rules, and will abide by whatever they are asked of. When people see the most innocent of tweets used as a justification to remove a person, they start to wonder whether or not they need to share their thoughts to begin with. I mean, why bother if there's nothing to gain? These tech companies are doing everything they can to make sure people don't talk or think about things they don't want them to talk or think about. Think about it like this. In an ideal world, do you really want Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, and the rest of these tech companies to decide what you're allowed to think about or what you're allowed to talk about? Between the lot of them, I don't think there is one trustworthy person. There are rumors that the White House is considering drafting an executive order that would instruct federal antitrust and law enforcement agencies to open probes into the practices of Alphabet Incorporated, meaning Google, and Facebook Incorporated, as well as many other social media websites. This is something that needs to not only happen immediately, but also go into effect immediately, especially with the midterms right around the corner. If there is any hope of a right-wing victory this November, social media has to be open to all for a free and active exchange of ideas, rather than this tactic of holding one side to a separate standard. How will the right gain any traction or momentum if they are not even heard by the majority of people? How can there be any dissent of mainstream opinion if that dissent is just simply removed? We are at a point where the only option is for the White House to react. This could work, but it would have to happen as soon as possible. The longer this goes on and is allowed, the longer people are going to be manipulated by tech companies that have ulterior motives. You'll notice that most of these tech companies started off as free speech advocates for as long as they could ride the wave. People support free speech, so they were given tons of support from the public for going against the Chinese government, for example. Now that they do support massive censorship since their political competitors are no longer a worry of theirs, their only concern is preventing innovation and covering up for totalitarian governments. Well, that'll be it for this video, but I just wanted to say, to summarize, today it's Alex Jones, tomorrow it's me, the next day it'll be you. But anyway, on a more lighthearted note, here it is, your moment of clarity.